So I think it's fair to say we've all got a little bit of a soft spot when it comes to NGT products. They're some of the cheapest products available in the industry and they just do the job they're meant to do. Well, today I've got 3 different landing nets to show you, all 42 inch, with the cheapest coming in at just £11. So let's get into the video and have a look at the different options. So like I say, the cheapest comes in at £11, which is very, very cheap when it comes to a landing net. Now it is worth pointing out that all of these are nets only. There's no handles. NGT offer a whole variety of handles, whether you want extendable, whether you want one piece, whatever you want, NGT have got it covered. But that is why these don't come with handles, because there's so much variety to choose from. But if I open this up, this is the 42 inch Specimen Net. And the first thing you'll see is that it comes in a bag. It will act as a bit of a stink bag as well, so if you do put it away wet, then it should help to mask that smell a little bit. But taking it out, in the bag you get your net, and you also get a metal spreader block. So NGT spreader block, so then that will screw onto any of the NGT landing net handles, because it is just that universal thread. But like I say, you got your 42 inch net. Unraveling this, it is exactly what you need it to be. It's a 42 inch net. You've got quite a nice opening at the front, so it's quite a nice wide opening for it. And the net is slightly different in colour. You've got black arms, and then that obviously fades to a green net or green mesh. So you know when it comes to landing a fish, even at night, you know where the arms are, because if you're using a head torch, then black arms are going to stand out quite nicely. But it's also quite a nice depth to it as well. It's not too deep where you're searching around for your fish, but it's a nice depth where there is still that bit of depth. If you want to keep it in the margin for 5 minutes while you sort out a few bits and pieces, you've got a nice bit of depth to hold the fish in. But the mesh itself, nice and soft, can't complain at all, especially, like I say, when you find out that the price is only 11 quid, which I still can't quite get my head around. So wrapping that up, we'll move on to the next one in the range, and this is the dual float net. So the name kind of gives it away. Again, you get a bit of a stink bag with it. Open it up. I'll show you this one. Now this is slightly more expensive. I think the cheapest I found it online was about 15 quid. So again, it's still not going to break the bank. Very similar in terms of the mesh. You get the same metal spreader block in it, exactly the same. And if I open this up, you'll see exactly where it gets its name from. You've got a float on each of the arms. Now this is really beneficial for a few reasons. Obviously it means that if you are playing a fish and it's kind of back and forth, you haven't got to think that you've got to only have the net in the water at the right time, because otherwise it will slip away. It can rest in the water, it will float until you are ready to actually land that fish. But the nice thing about it as well is the placement of these floats. Now you'll probably notice they are quite a way down, which will be obviously very close to the spreader block. And the reason for this is it will keep the net floating, but the front of the net won't be surface level. So the front will dip down slightly, so that makes it a lot easier when it actually comes to netting a fish. If you need to draw that fish back over the net cord and you're struggling a little bit, you know that that front's going to be very slightly dipped down, so you can draw that fish over, and it will make landing fish a hell of a lot easier. Now the mesh itself is near enough the same. Obviously it's got a couple of cutouts here where the floats actually go, but the actual makeup of the mesh is the same. It's the same softness. It's the same having the black along the arms, and then you've got a black base to it as well. Same depth as well. So again, very good net for the money, and it gives you that option, or that ease of actually using it. If you do struggle a little bit sometimes landing fish, then you know you've got this on hand. I will just point out actually, recently I've been down Forkley a couple of times, and where the water levels are quite high, you need to wade out slightly to land fish. Something like this would be very, very useful in that situation, because it's not like you're just fishing from a bank and the net is next to you. In that situation, you really need the net in the water with you. If you don't have floats, that's sinking right down, and it might be 1.5 foot down when you actually come to landing the fish. So very, very useful and worth paying that few quid extra. Now the final one we're going to talk about is, of course, another 42 inch net, but this is actually a rubber mesh. Now, it does make the net very slightly heavier, and it does make it a little bit harder to get into the bag, but I think the benefits of a rubber mesh really do outweigh them couple of negatives. Now again, you get the same metal spreader block with it, and it is, like I say, a 42-inch net. However, this is completely black, and that is just down to the actual rubber coating that's over the net. Now the nice thing with a rubber coating is it's going to dry a lot quicker, so it will literally just drip dry, and then it's not like a material where that water actually soaks into it. Because it's rubber, it will just dry straight off. So if you wanted something that dries quicker, obviously that's a benefit, but because it dries quicker, it doesn't seem to smell as much either, so that is a massive benefit. We all know how bad nets can smell, especially in the height of summer when you've left them locked up in a car. They can absolutely reek, but you won't get that with a rubber mesh like this. It just helps to counteract that issue. Now, like I say, it is slightly heavier, but I don't see that as any real problem at all. And if you're wanting something that does dry nice and quickly, then this is going to be the one to go for. It is slightly more expensive. I think the cheapest I found this online was about $22.95, but again, still very, very cheap. So that is 3 different options of 42-inch nets that NGT offer. And like I say, it's well worth looking on the NGT website to have a look at all the different options of landing net handles that can go with these, so you can really customize everything and have your landing net set up exactly how you want it to be. But like I say, do have a look at the NGT website if you want more information on any of these nets as well, or if you want to order them, then yeah, make sure you head over there. But for now, thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think. What is your favorite net out of these 3 in the comments below, and I will see you in the next one.